Stephen, thanks so much for coming back on the program. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, so there's a lot happening in New York, and Stephen Lee, he is a sergeant in the NYPD. So
Yeah.
all things police matters. This guy knows what he's talking about. So we're going to kick it around right here. So first of all, can you give the viewers a little bit of an update quickly of what happened in the race? And also when you were on last time, if you're willing to share with the audience, you did have some issues with some people in the police department. If you want to hear about that in depth, go back to our podcast in June. I'll put that in the description box. But Stephen, can you tell the viewers a little bit about those two issues?
Yeah, sure. So my election, I lost, obviously, um, but it wasn't by that much. I got a good percentage, and it was just COVID. I couldn't go door to door. Couldn't, the people didn't know that much about me, and hopefully next time will be different. I'm not giving up on running, and I'm just building up my name recognition as we go along. Like I'm constantly out there still helping the people. The situation with NYPD is still going on. It's still there. I'm still fighting them. It's going to be a long battle, but I'm getting more and more alliances. So a lot of people are starting to help. It's a big hot topic now, police reform. And a lot of political candidates and people who are in office are calling me up and asking me to help with the reform. So it's pretty good.
Right, so let's kick this around even more in depth. Before we even go into the police issues, Andrew Yang is running for mayor over there. Big
Yep.
fan of him as a person that's progressive in general. Think he has a lot of good ideas. So what is your take on that? Do you think he's got a shot? Obviously, that huge name recognition from running in the campaign for president of the United States. A lot of people like him, Democrats and Republicans for that matter. But also there's been some talk, and you can get more into this as you're living in New York right now. There was some talk that during the pandemic, he did go to upstate instead of staying in the city. So just discuss that in general about Andrew Yang. Do you think that's just kind of to throw him under the bus in plain English?
Um, all these are personal opinions, of course, right?
Right.
Um, One, do I think he has a shot? Yeah, absolutely. His name recognition is huge. Um, how do I feel about him running upstate and stuff like that? I don't know, man. I don't know. Um, I guess it's okay because he didn't have a obligation to be planted here in New York,
Yeah.
right? It's not like he was holding a political office and he left, right? Unlike my opponent, right, Ron Kim, he's the state assembly of our area of Flushing, but he ran upstate also. So that you know bothers me because you have a moral obligation because you're representing the people of this area, and then you abandon them and go upstate. But with Andrew Yang, he had no moral obligation. Like, his main responsibility at the time is his family.
Yeah.
And, upstate is a safer place for your family and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not like, he owed New York anything, right?
Right.
It's not like he had a physical obligation for New York. And, I think it's
Mhm.
okay. It doesn't bother me that he went upstate.
Well, Stephen, also to say this for people that don't know, obviously I'm a political junkie, so I do know this. Andrew does have a child that has autism.
Yes,
So we talk about
I know.
safety for family. Obviously, kids that do have special needs in general, you need to make sure you're looking out for them. I don't know how severe his child does have autism, but in general, you need to be looking out for those people in general. So
Absolutely.
I do give him the benefit of the doubt as far as looking out for his family, as you said.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about this with the race as we bounce back to that because you just brought up your opponent's name. Would you think about running against him again? We talked about this in June. It was a
Absolutely.
close race. Somebody needs
Absolutely.
to step up and challenge these people, like you said,
Yeah.
because they just consistently sit in these seats.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything. You brought this up in June, so
Yeah.
you're thinking about challenging him again, then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
1000%.
All right, because it is tough against, and you know how it is. You were running, and
So what?
it's
First
tough.
time running, first time
Right,
running is always tough.
Well, and it's also in New York with that establishment, running against the establishment. It's it's like
Oh, it
running
was rough,
against,
man. Yeah, it was rough. It was a lot of
yeah.
gaslighting. There was a lot of you know, people just making up stuff, taking things out of content, and just like posting stuff, making up like false stuff. It was crazy. It was a lot of it was very triggering. It was very
Right.
a lot of drama and stuff. But you know what? Who cares? Like they're just kids making up, lies and stuff online.
Well,
It's
Stephen,
crazy.
not even just that. We saw what happened in New York in 2016 in the Bernie Sanders race where the ballots were all over the place. We also saw in 2020 where there was a lot of people that had trouble with issues as far as mailing in ballots. We saw the Carolyn Maloney, the congressional race. It
Yeah,
wasn't decided for like months on end. I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy over there. And this is establishment power play politics in New York, but also
yeah.
all over the country they play these games.
Also, like the board elections, right? They don't have
Yeah.
their they're all over the place. They have no clue what the hell they're doing. like like the volunteers that they have, well, they're not volunteers, but they hired them, right? But people that work at the polling sites and stuff like that, they'd be giving false information. It's like they'll be like, "Oh, you can't, you have to vote down this way. You can't vote this way." When it's the opposite, right? So like Paperboy, I don't know if you saw the video that Paperboy put up when he was at the voting site at and the lady was telling him to vote down the line, you know,
Right.
instead of vote, instead of choose somebody from across the line, right?
Mhm.
Because like in that box, you're supposed to choose the name across anywhere in that box, right? But
Right.
instead, the lady was like, "No, no, no. You only could choose if you're gonna choose Democrat. You got to go Democrat all the way down." And he's like, "I'm pretty sure that's not the case. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
telling people that." So
Right.
it's just stuff like that. Like yeah, like if you're a Democrat, I guess it's good, right? That's happening. But I'd rather not win that way. I'd rather win where it's like people vote for me because they know me, they know what I'm about, they know my issues, and they agree with it. And that's the way I want to win. And I think it will happen, man. I think it will happen because I'm still out here. I'm doing my thing, and a lot of people calling me up, and my name recognition is actually, it means something now. When people hear it, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." So it's pretty cool.
Right. Nah, I agree. And we need to get more people. And I said this before, we need to get more people like you in politics in
Yeah,
general. It's the real people that are on the streets, such as yourself, as a
yeah.
police officer, going on the streets. You know what people are going through,
Well,
not just in, go ahead.
not even just police officers. I mean, you could be a fireman. You could
Right.
be, you could be like a teacher or something. Like, if you have that passion to change, um, things for the better, right? Like I have that passion for police reform, right? Because I know, it's effed up, right?
Right.
Like the system is messed up. We need to change it. All right, we need to change it for the better and stuff. And like, if you have that passion, like where you want to change the school reform, like if you want to do a school reform and you want, keep things better for schools and know how to
Yeah.
better educate our children, they come out and run and do it, and speak up. If you know hospitals how to do medical reform, like, come out and speak up, teach us. And we need that. We need experts that work in the field to come out and help teach us, how to make it better.
Right.
You know?
Sergeant Stephen Lee here on Fire Breathing Rum. Can we talk about your mayor right now? Obviously, obviously the election is coming up for the new mayor. But what's the story with Bill de Blasio? When he came in,
Uh,
I heard so many good things. He was a progressive. He was going to do all these big
bro, he
reform things.
is the worst. The worst. Yeah. The worst. The two worst politicians that came out in New York is De Blasio and Trump, man. Terrible. Terrible. They should definitely impeach De Blasio now, please. Impeach him too. Take Trump and De Blasio with you. Like, because he talks a good game,
Yeah.
but he's in it for himself. He's a
Well,
thief. You know, his wife has mismanaged $1 billion budget for the
wow.
mental hygiene. program, and she mismanaged $1 billion with it. Just like I think it was like 600 something or 800. It was close to $1 billion where the money went missing. And I know people in that unit, right, in that city agency, and it's only like two people. You know what I mean?
God.
So it's like, how the hell you spend $1 billion? I don't understand, you know. So it that money disappears somewhere. They stole that money. It's crazy. They 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 flip flop on things like, you know, he said that he's against the NYPD and all that stuff and the corruption and stuff, but he doesn't do anything to help it. When the department investigations, the person that he appointed for department investigations, when they wanted to investigate him or somebody in his like crew, like as in like another agency that he appointed,
Mm.
he fired them. You know what I mean? Like that's like saying, "Oh, yo, I'm gonna hire security to, you know, make sure nobody steals anything." And then when the security officer is like, "Yo, that guy's stealing something," "Oh, you're fired, bro. Get out of here." You know what I mean? Like, what kind of shit is that, right? So
Well,
that's what happened twice. He
mm,
fired two department investigation inspector generals, right? And the third one now plays along, and so he's not fired. So
that's politics. Hey, Steve, but
crazy.
let me ask you this question before we move on to police reform in general. We've had in New York Giuliani, that, who has made a huge name for himself. You know, obviously he made his name for himself after 9/11 and throughout
Yeah,
that time. Then he
right.
ran for president, kind of went away after
Oh
that.
my God,
And
yeah.
now he was running around with Trump, the hair dye
Oh
going
God,
down his face, total
yeah,
disaster.
yeah.
Then Bloomberg, who started stop and frisk and was a total disaster as far as that issue. But then when he ran for president, he got shellacked. They found a lot of stuff with the non-disclosure agreements with women that he made obscene gestures to and had other people in his administration doing obscene things with in general. And then now you have de Blasio. So can it get any worse? What's your take on that? Can it get any worse as far as mayors?
Bro, after 2020, man, nothing
Yeah.
surprises me.
God.
um, hopefully that was the worst of it, right?
Well, that's a lot of bad politicians in a row. So
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. I don't know. I think Andrew Yang could be
yeah.
very good for New York. Um, he he has a lot of policies that make a lot of good sense, and it seems like he has um, a genuine approach about ending poverty, right? Which we need. Um, the other guy is Eric Adams. He used to be a police officer himself. He's a retired captain. He also started the 100 Blacks in law enforcement, and
Mm.
you know, it looks like he will be able to reform the police where they don't target people of color, right,
Mhm.
in poverty neighborhoods. And then you have Scott Stringer. Um,
Yeah. Well,
I have nothing
Stringer's the
nice.
establishment guy, right?
I have nothing nice to say about Stringer, so
Okay. Well, then
I, I, I chose not to. I choose not to support Stringer, and you know, I think New York will end up like another De Blasio with Stringer.
oh God. Oh, we don't
Yeah,
need
so
that.
so I choose
Okay.
not to. I choose not to support. I don't want to say anything bad about him. I
No,
don't.
that's
I choose
fine.
not. I choose not to say anything that bad about somebody unless I really. You know what I mean?
Despise them.
Yeah. I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to be nice.
Nah, no worries. Well, let's kick around the coronavirus. Obviously, last time we spoke, it was going on. You spoke about the Black Lives Matter protest,
Yeah,
you know, being there as in person and
yeah,
not off duty, and just seeing what was going on in general. You
yep,
told a lot of scary stories that happened to you and other people throughout, you know, just being there off duty.
yep,
So let's kick this around. So what is going on? You know, coronavirus cases are going up right now. What's
yep.
going on in New York City right now? Are you seeing more crime because people aren't getting that money, like the money they need? I mean, you know, the eviction moratorium keeps going on, but eventually, you know, the brick's going to fall where people are going to owe that money, you know, full on end. You know, they're going to all those moratoriums are going to be up and people need to pay that money, they're going to go homeless. Are you seeing a
Um,
lot of homeless people in New York City now? Are you seeing a lot of people that are stealing stuff now? You know, maybe some of them on no fault of their own. I mean, obviously we don't stand for stealing, but a lot of people are stealing because they can't afford to do anything else. So they're either going to steal and go to jail or just, you know, try to
yeah,
do. So
yeah,
what are you seeing?
crime is definitely up.
Hmm.
The only reason why crime is up is because the NYPD, the police officer, the morale is very low, and so they choose not to enforce as much, or they don't want to get involved with the politics of enforcing certain things, and so their morale is very low, and criminals know this, right? Those who are out there to commit crime know what they could get away with, and know what. Um, Cops are enforcing and what they're not enforcing, and they know this because they pay attention, right? That's their job, to pay attention to these kind of things. And when when there's like a bad morale case like this, it's they take advantage of it, right? um Homelessness, yes, is definitely on the rise. um Even in this cold weather, they're still out there. Out here it's cold, right? It's cold during winter. Like just yesterday, it started having flurries. It was snowing, right? But yeah, the homelessness is definitely an issue. Um, One of the things I'm trying to solve with that is I'm trying to put up more community fridges,
Mm.
community refrigerators, and then stock it up with food. And then, like, with families that need it, or homeless people, they want to grab like a cooked meal, whatever. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be cold, but hopefully they could go into a bodega and just ask them to like microwave it and warm it up. So we're gonna try to work with some of these places where talk to the stores and be like, hey, can we leave like these cooked meals here? And then if a homeless person wants one, they can come in, you can microwave one for them or something like that,
Mm.
or whatever. Or another thing idea was we make up like these vouchers, right? And we give it out to them, and then like they go to the store, and we of course talk to the store and be like, hey, we'll exchange these vouchers for like donations, right? Where you can get a tax write off for you donating the food, and then you know you we keep tabs on how many food you donate with these vouchers. Like the homeless person would come in, give them a voucher, and be like, all right, give me a cooked meal. And then they'd be like, all right, we have this amount of cooked meals that we served, and here you go. And then we give them like a tax write-off for the amount of meals that they did. So this way we can help them. Um, we're giving out groceries still.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. It's really sad because it's hard. You know, um, the unemployment stopped.
Yeah.
Um, Rent is still due.
Mm.
Yeah, you understand. There's a lot of rent freeze. People are saying, but not in these neighborhoods. A lot of Asian landlords, they don't go by that. And a lot of Asians, um, their mentality is they don't want to start trouble. So it's like the landlord asks for rent, you try to give them rent. You know, and then like they don't understand, like they don't have to give them rent right now. There's a rent freeze. But it's the language barrier. We gotta get the information to these people, and you know let them know there's help out there. And hopefully we could bring it back into these neighborhoods where they could stand on their feet and survive. It's a very tough time, man. We're trying our best to help people get over it. With the small business loans that are out there and stuff like that now, and UBI,
Yeah.
coming out and stuff. So we're trying our best.
When you talk about the issues as far as morale with the police department, NYPD in general,
Hmm.
what are those issues stemming from? Is it because all these?
Politicians.
Okay, are we
From
talking mainly
politics.
De Blasio?
De Blasio. Um, Cops don't like the far left
Yeah.
because the whole abolish the police, defund the police. You know, to them, Trump was a hero,
Yeah.
right? It's sad, um, but that's their hero, and that was their savior, right?
Mm.
But you know, um, I think they need to be more educated. Cops need to be more educated on what is it that the left is trying to do. And once they realize what the left is trying to do, they'll realize, oh shit, they're helping us. You know, like, because a lot of times the cops say, fuck the job, right? Which is what the left say about fuck the police. Same thing. Fuck the system. The system is fucked up. The system needs to be revamped, right? Cops feel like they're not safe, they're not protected, they can't do their jobs, right? So with all these police reforms coming through, they'll be able to do their jobs. Cops want to just concentrate on fighting crime.
Mhm.
You don't want to have to deal with all the bullshit in the politics, right? That's what defund the police is. You know what I mean? Defund the police is, listen, cops should only worry about crime stuff, right?
But Stephen, wouldn't you say that's the wrong terminology? That's where it gets people in trouble when we say defund the police. I know it's these
Why?
three.
Why does it get us in
Well,
trouble?
because like you said, Democrats saying that, and they say defund the police when a lot of these police are not educated on what the term means. So they think of that term like they're going to get that money taken away from them. When we should say decriminalize, or maybe we shouldn't use three words. We should get more eloquent
No.
on. Go ahead.
No. Defund the police. Listen, you got to explain to them. Defund the police means, look, we're rebudgeting everything, right? So it's like we're taking the money away from this unit and we're putting it where it can actually be used to solve,
Yeah.
like an issue or entity, right? So it's like, okay, so the homeless outreach unit, right?
Mhm.
What the hell we need that for? I mean, they're not doing anything. Obviously, it's not working because the homeless people are still out there,
Yeah.
right? So instead of like paying for instead of like paying for overtime and the budget that the unit has and stuff like that, take that away and give it to like a group of social workers who are willing to go out there and like hit the streets and talk to these individuals and be like, hey, what's going on? Do you need help? How do we get you off the street and stuff like that? We have programs and stuff. That's more helpful than NYPD just driving around in a van. Because every time I seen them, they don't do jack shit to me. Like I see them and I'm like, oh, they must have a great gig. Like they probably just woke up or something. Like they're always just driving around the van with no homeless people in the back. And I'm like, at first, like my half my career, I didn't know who the hell the fuck they were. Because it said THOU, bow, right, on
Oh,
a van for the unit, right?
yeah.
So on the back of the vans, if you notice, it'll say like 17 precinct, 19 precinct, or whatever, what command it's from. So it said THOU. So for half my career, I'm like, what the fuck is the Thou unit? Are they like Catholic or something? Like thou shalt not, commit crime. Like what the hell is this unit, right? And then somebody broke it down. They were like, that's the homeless outreach unit. So I'm like, so what the hell does the T stand for? The homeless outreach unit? And they're like, no, transit homeless outreach unit. And I'm like, oh wow. And I was like, yo, that must be such a good gig. Nobody knows who the hell they are. And that's
Yeah.
the problem because they don't work. They don't do anything. All right.
Right.
So you need to take that money away from that unit and just put it into like social workers who are willing to go out and actually be hands-on with the people and know what they're talking about to help them with that. Because
But
a
I
lot of
hate
it,
to
a lot of it is mental health issues.
push more training programs that for instead of arresting people that are nonviolent offenders, trying to get them more into training programs so they don't.
Right. And help
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It solves the problem. The reason why I know this works is because I tell everybody, right? Like there was one time I was patrolling on Main Street and I seen, we watched these kids and they snatch cell phones and purses and stuff like that. And they're high school kids, right? And one day I just walked up to them because I was just tired of sitting there and watching them. And I go up to them like, look, why you here? Why you guys are out here, scheming on cell phones and purses and stuff like that? And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "We know what's going on. Like, we watch you guys all the time, right? You know we're watching you, And then he's like, "Oh, blah blah blah." I was like, "Look, you got any hobbies?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, I box." And I'm like, "So why don't you go boxing? Go train. You should be training right now." He's like, "I have no equipment."
Oh.
So I'm like, "Okay, you know what? We're standing right in front of motels. Come inside. I'll buy you the equipment." So I go
Wow.
inside and I bought him gloves, I bought him a headgear, I bought him the mouthpiece and stuff. We're walking up to the counter and he's like, "Wow, you dead ass? You really gonna buy me stuff right now?" And I'm like, "Yeah. What's wrong with that? You know, just because I wear a uniform doesn't mean any type of way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to help you." And people at Modell saw it and they were like, "You know, we want to give you a discount. We want to do with some free stuff." They're right. They're doing some free stuff. You know?
Well, you're a true fighter for not
Yeah.
just police reform, but helping people out. We need more politicians, police officers like you. So,
Yeah.
SteveForNewYork.com. Definitely check him out. Anything else you want to say, Steve, before we cut out?
No, that's it. I
Okay.
hope everybody is I hope everybody's staying safe and staying healthy. And you know, the virus is real.
Mm.
um, please stay safe. You know, and healthy. That's it.
Well, I'll end with
Yeah.
that. And Steve, thanks for your time.
Yeah.